Warning: if you feel that you or a loved one has a gambling problem, please call National Council on Problem Gambling at 1-800-522-4700.
Every lottery winner can agree that winning the lottery will change your life. You will have to make a lot of decisions, and some of those decisions can be life-changing. While most people believe that winning the lottery is a good thing, there is such a thing as the lottery curse. The lottery curse is when someone wins the lottery and their life changes for the worse. This can happen for a number of reasons. The person may start to spend their money recklessly and get into debt. They may also have many people asking them for money, and they may give away too much. The person may also start to experience a lot of jealousy from others, and they may even be the target of crime. If you win the lottery, it is important to be mindful of the lottery curse and ensure that you do not let it ruin your life. In this video, we will cover 9 lottery winners whose life was turned upside down for the worst. Before we start, I want to give a shout out to Jamie Chase. You are doing great things for this channel, and we enjoy having you here. Number 9, Lara and Roger Griffiths. In 2005, Roger and Lara won £1.83 million playing the National Lottery. Roger would soon quit his job as an IT manager making £38,000, and Lara would quit her job as a performing arts teacher. That is when the lottery curse began. They would go on a spending spree that we could only dream of. It didn't cross my mind that I'd end up here. The one thing I didn't want to do was waste that money, Roger said. Before they won the lottery, they owned a 4-bedroom ex-council house in Boston, Spa. They always kept up with their mortgage. On the first night after winning, they celebrated with curry and Camelot champagne. Soon after that, Roger purchased a soft-top Audi, and Lara booked a vacation to Dubai, flying business class and staying in a 5-star hotel. After buying handbags and spending a lot of time at Louis Vuitton at the trip's end, their bill reached around £15,000 in 10 days. They would buy a home, spending £18,000 on renovations and £25,000 on new furniture. Roger bought a Porsche, while Lara swapped out the Audi for a Lexus. They would send their 2 daughters to a private girls' school costing more than £20,000 a year. Trips to Florida, New York, and Rome were planned and taken. In Rome, the couple stayed in the royal suite of St. Regis, where you have your own personal butler. Roger put his old band back together, and £25,000 later, they released a single that only sold 600 copies. Roger's next move was to become a property developer, despite having no experience. He would buy 2 houses, one for £157,000 and the other for £195,000. He would also buy a beauty salon for £100,000, which was doing well for a short period, but then it started losing £4,000 a month. They were soon in their £70,000 emergency fund, but the spending continued, with champagne and 5-star vacations. The failing businesses and a house fire right before Christmas forced them to pay £120,000 worth of repairs and find a place to stay until the repairs were done, which would be the final nail in the coffin of their marriage. Roger would move out of the family home and into a cottage he had bought as an investment. They would sell the salon, losing £70,000, pull the children out of private school and put them in public school, return the Porsche, and put the family house up for sale. When asked, Roger said he doesn't regret picking those winning numbers. Nor does he regret the holidays, cars, or hotels. I was living the millionaire's lifestyle. Everyone who wins the lottery should do that, said Roger. There's no point entering otherwise. Number 8, William Bud Post. In 1988, William Bud Post's life would change, but stay the same. At the age of 8, he lost his mother and was sent to an orphanage by his father. Growing up, he would do many different jobs: pipelining, spray painting, cooking, and even driving trucks for carnivals and circuses. He was always hard up for money and even spent 28 days in jail for passing bad checks. His luck would change for the better in 1988, when he was down to his last $2.46. William would pawn one of his rings for $40. He would then give the money to his landlady and sometimes his girlfriend to buy lottery tickets. Next thing you know, Post is a millionaire, $16.2 million to be exact. Unlike most, William would not take the lump sum. He would take the annual payments of $497,953.47 for the next 26 years. 2 weeks after receiving his first check, Mr. Post spent over $300,000 paying for a liquor license, a restaurant for his brother and sister, a used car lot and the cars for another brother, and to top it off, a twin-engine plane even though he didn't have a pilot's license. Just 3 months after his winnings, he was $500,000 in debt. After going $500,000 into debt, you would think the smart move would be to slow down on your spending. I guess not, because a year later he would buy a mansion in Oil City, Pennsylvania, for $395,000 with intentions of upgrading it. Remember his landlady, to whom he gave the money so she could buy the tickets? Well, she decided to sue William, stating they had agreed to split any winnings, which Mr. Post strenuously denied. After a 3-year court battle, he was ordered to pay 1/3 of all the proceeds. Mr. Post refused to hand over his 1992 annual payment to satisfy the judgment, so the judge ordered all of his lottery payments frozen until things could get resolved. Without any payments coming in, Mr. Post was forced to sell off most of his acquisitions. His mansion was in shambles. Visitors told stories of how there were plywood-covered windows, a swimming pool filled with trash, an old car on blocks, and a security system that chirped 6 times every minute. In a last-ditch effort to get out of debt in 1996, William decided to sell his mansion for $65,000 and sell his last 17 lottery payments. Once I'm no longer a lottery winner, people will leave me alone. That's all I want. Just peace of mind, he told the Guardian newspaper of London. By 1998, he was reportedly living on a disability check of $450 per month. Hold on. I forgot to mention his brother was arrested for trying to hire a hitman to kill him and his wife. Everybody dreams of winning money, but nobody realizes the nightmares that come out of the woodwork or the problems, said Mr. Post in 1993, 5 years after winning the lottery. At the age of 66, William Bud Post passed away from respiratory failure at a Pittsburgh area hospital. Number 7. Jack Whittaker. Winning the lottery is good, but winning it on Christmas? That's even better. Jack Whittaker would disagree with that statement. On Christmas night in 2002, Jack Whittaker received 2 gifts. The first was the Powerball jackpot of $315 million, and the second was the lottery curse. Already a self-made millionaire, Whittaker was a regular Powerball player. He already knew what he would do with the money if he ever won. He would share some of his prize with churches and family. Jack would keep his word. After taking the lump sum of $113.4 million after taxes, he would start a foundation in his name and spend $23 million building 2 churches. His family would donate food, clothing, and college scholarships to local students. On New Year's Eve 2002, Jack walked into the Pink Pony Strip Club, slamming $50,000 on the bar and saying he was there to whoop it up. A few months later, Whittaker was back at the same club, but this time he was bragging about having $545,000 stashed in his car out in the parking lot. It is alleged that 2 employees overheard him talking, slipped him a Mickey, broke into the vehicle, and stole the cash. The police would find the cash next to a dumpster. 5 months later, Jack wouldn't be so lucky, as $200,000 was stolen from the same car in the same parking lot at the same strip club. In 2018, $100,000 was stolen from his car right in front of his home. In 2004, tragedy struck the Whittaker home when a friend of his teenage granddaughter was found in his home due to a drug overdose. Later that same year, they would find his granddaughter's body wrapped in a plastic tarp behind a derelict van. Caesars Atlantic City would sue him for bouncing a $1.5 million check, which would only make things worse. He would later settle a lawsuit with a woman who said he sexually assaulted her at Tri-State Racetrack and Gaming Center, and his house would burn down in 2016. I pretty much lost everything I held dear in my life, Whittaker told ABC News. I don't like the hard heart I've got. I just don't like what I've become. Jack Whittaker died on June 27 at the age of 73. Number 6. Michael Carroll. Winning the lottery at 19, Michael Carroll had no chance against the lottery curse. In November 2002, Michael spent just £1 on his very first ticket and won £9.7 million. That alone should have been a bad sign. In a 2006 interview, Michael told of a time he woke up to find all 5 of his dogs dead, blackmailers threatening his family, and men with shotguns coming to his home. All in an attempt to swindle money out of him. Carroll would invest £1 million via Rangers Financial Management. He would be advised to set up a £3.9 million investment bond that generated monthly income. He was told the bond was for emergencies only, and if he took out any money, there would be huge financial penalties. After giving his mom, aunt, and sister each £1 million, the spending spree would start. He would buy a £325,000 mansion and new cars, including a new Range Rover, 2 BMW Z4S, and 3 Mitsubishi Evos. He was spending £2,000 a day just on drugs and £1,000 a day on prostitutes. By September 2003, Carroll had made withdrawals from the £3.9 million bond. In 2010, he reapplied for his old job because he had blown through his lotto winnings. After declaring bankruptcy in 2013, Carroll spent 3 months in a hotel for the homeless after being unable to find a job. Once finding a job and getting back on his feet, Carroll said, "I live a good, free lifestyle now, and I'm happier. I've got my life back. I'm a skint lottery winner. I reckon I'm lucky to be alive. If I still had the money, I'd be 6 feet under." Before we cover the next 5 stories, please hit the like and subscribe buttons and leave a comment telling us what you would do to avoid the lottery curse. Number 5. Evelyn Adams. Evelyn Adams was the first person in the history of the New Jersey Lottery to win multiple million-dollar jackpot prizes. In October 1985, she would win her first prize of $3.9 million. 4 months later, in February 1986, she would win her second prize of $1.4 million. She would take the annual payments for both prizes, which came out to be $218,000 after taxes. Adams would take some of her winnings to pay off her bills and set up a fund to pay college tuition for her daughter. She would also buy a new car and give gifts to close relatives and friends. She would later buy the convenience store where she used to work but then sell it. She would gamble her money away on slot machines after giving away a large portion of her winnings, and she had a few failed business deals. "I wish I had the chance to do it all over again. I'd be much smarter about it now," says Adams. Number 4. Alex and Rhoda Toth. Alex and Rhoda Toth rose to fame after winning a $13 million lottery prize. Alex purchased a lottery ticket in 1990 that made him and his wife instant billionaires. At the time, the family was living on the edge of destitution. Alex had to care for his wife and 6 children. According to reports, these folks had less than $25 to survive on for the next 7 days until the lottery prize altered their lives. This is a great illustration of being cautious about what you wish for. In earlier interviews, Alex and Rhoda stated that the lottery money would make no difference to them. Unfortunately, quick and easy money quickly converted them both into big-headed prima donnas. The pair eventually ended up residing in a motel for 3 months. A single night's stay there cost them $1,000. While in Las Vegas, Alex and Rhoda also squandered away large sums of money. Shopping, excursions, and other extravagant things quickly added up. The Toths eventually became bored with their way of life. The couple returned to Florida, purchased land, and settled with all the children. This lovely way of life, however, did not endure long. The Toths quickly fell into financial difficulties. Because of bad money management and blowing enormous sums, the Toth family was forced to declare bankruptcy not once but twice in the following years. The IRS was eventually called in because the couple was accused of submitting false tax returns. Alex Toth, 60, died unexpectedly in 2008 while facing tax fraud allegations. He and Rhoda had both pleaded guilty and were awaiting punishment at the time Alex died. Number 3. Jim Hayes. Jim Hayes struck gold at the age of 35. On January 7, 1998, he was working the graveyard shift for Dial Security, keeping an eye on businesses and homes. At a USA gas station, he bought a Quick Pick lottery ticket. His grandmother, with whom he had been living and caring, examined the ticket during her daily routine and roused him up with the news. He was thrilled. "I know I'll change, but only for the better," he told the Los Angeles Times the next day. "Mainly, what I want to do is help out my family and friends in need. I'm not going to blow the money. Hayes earned $13.7 million after taxes, which he planned to receive in 20 yearly installments of $684,000. He instantly began spending the money. I race Lamborghinis with pro driver Mario Andretti. I own 6 different Lambos. I'm a car guy, Bentleys, Porsches, Corvettes, etc., Hayes wrote. I owned beachfront houses, I had actress girlfriends, you name it, I've probably done it. At one time, he presented a business idea to rent exotic sports vehicles to Las Vegas's high rollers. He was spending like crazy, Walker recalls. He'd seek an advance on the lottery payment for the next year and borrow against it. But he was consuming more than he should. According to court filings, when Hayes divorced his first wife, Stephanie, in the late 1990s, she was given half of his annual lottery earnings. According to his second wife, Stephanie Weisinger Hayes, he still splurged on $10,000 Rolex watches, Persian carpets, 5-star hotels, and Harley-Davidson motorcycles. He would be all too willing to hand out money to his friends, with some of them coming out of the woodwork asking for loans or handouts. According to court documents, debt from living large and making terrible business decisions began to build up, and he filed for bankruptcy in 2007. The California Lottery withheld part of his annual lottery payments to make up for the money he owed. He also had issues with the IRS in 2015. With his back against the wall, Jim would turn to robbing banks as a way to make ends meet. After fleeing from a robbery on September 26, 2017, a tipster turned him into the FBI. On October 2, he would be taken into custody. Hayes pleaded guilty to 4 counts of robbery and was sentenced to 33 months in prison with 3 years of supervised release and $39,424 in restitution. Everything about how you live can be either low, medium, or over the top, Jim said. If I could change one thing about myself, I'd be more in the middle. Number 2, Marva Wilson. Marva Wilson, 65, was overjoyed when she won the Missouri lottery in 2008. She ended up bankrupt as a result of a terrible deception conducted by a woman she considered a friend. Wilson won over $2 million and used some of the money to buy 2 houses, and with help from a financial advisor, she set up an annuity that would pay her about $30,000 a year for the rest of her life. She also wanted to help her granddaughter pay for college, but she didn't get the opportunity. She met Freya Pearson, an unemployed woman whose main source of income was child support and Social Security payments, 2 years after winning the lottery. Pearson and Wilson became friends, and Pearson started giving Wilson financial advice. She tricked her into taking money out of her annuity and giving it to Wilson's fake NGO, Recidivism at Work. According to the indictment filed against Pearson, Wilson sent $480,000 to Raw, which Pearson used to gamble, travel, purchase vehicles, clothes, and furniture, and pay rent. No traceable funds were used for the charitable entity or for any commercial purpose. According to the indictment, Wilson was financially naive, leaving her reliant on the counsel of individuals she trusted to manage her money. She was a smart, slick, lying, educated crook, Wilson told 41 Action News. One time, I called her, and she was getting ready to board the plane to the Bahamas. Freya Pearson was sentenced to 5 years in jail for fraud, money laundering, tax evasion, and other offenses. Be very careful, be smart, and don't fall for any of those con artists out there. There are so many smooth-talking, slick people out there who will do anything to get your money, said Marva, who admits she's still very mad at Freya Pearson. Number 1, IBI Ronchioli. A lottery winner was slain by a drug cocktail administered by her husband, who was enraged by her spending. IBI Ronchioli was discovered dead in 2003 after sharing a $10 million, £6 million, inheritance with a friend and giving money to her sons. Joseph, her 72-year-old gynecologist husband, was found guilty of manslaughter in 2008 after he said she was wasting their retirement money. During Joseph's trial, it was discovered that IBI handed $2 million to a hidden son whose existence was unknown to the rest of the family. A whopping $800,000 went to a separate kid, fathered by Joseph, and almost the same amount went to another son with a different father. IBI also had a secret life of drug and alcohol addiction at their beautiful property, which had an indoor swimming pool and sauna. IBI was discovered dead in July 2003, with strange injection marks on her legs and feet. Her autopsy found that she died from a combination of painkillers and alcohol. Joseph would be sentenced to 7 years in prison for her murder. There you have it, the lottery curse visited 9 unlucky lottery winners. Be careful when you play the lottery because you could be the next on this list.